Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are. We're coming from Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, just at the back of the CGMA Leadership Academy, which was taking place from the 6th of October to the 9th of October. But we're not here to talk about the academy and how that went through. We have two distinguished ladies with us in conversation just to understand taken place this week around a very important topic that's close to their heart. So let me go around and do a quick introduction, and then we'll dive into what the conversation points are going to be. Lexy, would you mind introducing yourself a little bit to the audience so they get a good perspective of who you are and what is it that you do? And Irene, soon after to you.
I'm Lexy Kessler. I'm a partner with Aprio, and I'm also the current chairman of the board for the American Institute of CPAs, as well as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants.
Hi, I'm Irene Teng. I'm the Executive Vice President, AICPA CIMA, responsible for the global markets. And obviously, my daily passion at heart is always serving our members and students at our best.
And I'm Venkkat Ramanan, the Regional Vice President for Asia Pacific, the thorn amongst the roses in this conversation, and to have a curious point of view as to what the past 2 days have been. Both ladies had two roundtables, specifically with women and business leaders from the small and medium enterprises, and today with the women leaders from the British Malaysia Chamber of Commerce, their members. Lexy, can I go to you and then to Irene? What was that one key takeaway you saw from today's past 2 days conversation?
Well, it was fascinating that regardless of the background of the women, the issues were all very common and very similar. So whether it be from the cultural aspects of the expectations of women and their roles, whether it be in the family and the professional environment, to women that are re-entering. I think that was one of the themes, re-entering back into the workforce, and we will talk about it some more, but that was definitely one of my key takeaways.
And for me, a lot of those sharing coming from those ladies is so relatable to me. And I think, Lexy, you mentioned the same as well. As much as you see all those ladies being very successful, they're like the Iron Lady. I mean, externally, obviously look like a very strong, confident woman, but nothing is easy for them, because as a woman, our role, even though we are professionally successful, having a good career, we are not just a career woman. We are a mother, we are a daughter, we are a wife, and even a daughter-in-law. There's so many roles that we have to play. And you will see that each of these women, they try their very best to manage this and to appear, their best at every occasion, both professionally as well as their personal lives. So I guess how they're able to thrive, the first key takeaway I had was the mindset. The mindset comes first. Having the mindset to learn, to adopt, to embrace change, and to continue challenging themselves, building confidence. It all comes with the mind, despite whatever challenges that they have every day. The second thing was that the support system, right?
Yes.
So many of them were sharing about how lucky they are, have a spouse that really not just understood them, but really their spouse are there with them all the way. And of course, again, this relates very much to me and to Lexy, because both of us are lucky enough to have husbands that are very supportive of us throughout our journey.
And it was fascinating to hear also that just some of the situations where it may be not necessarily a spouse, but the parents. Yeah. And one would be supportive and the other is, why are you doing this? Yeah. Yeah. And trying to balance that. I thought just having that emotional conflict that comes up with just to overcome that, I think that's going to be incredibly difficult. It takes a lot of strength.
So here's the perfect linkage between the both of you, because you grew up in the West, you have a Western perspective around what you see. You're very much around the Eastern values of who we are. What was that aha moment when you had the conversation over the past 2 days, from where you come from, going, this was a surprise or this wasn't a surprise? What stood out to you the most?
Something I commented this morning was one of the lessons that my mother taught me, and the whole story behind it, and that doesn't really matter for right now, but was don't ever be financially dependent on anybody. And I was amazed how much that theme came through in the conversations. It was in different forms, but in essence it was, no, I can do this. And I want to prove to myself that I can do it. And it was fascinating. And it was also just, it was heartwarming in some ways that regardless of where we are from the globe, we have so much in common still, and so many values that we have in common.
And in Asian context, most women stick on to the values. One or two values that you saw that was consistent amongst the participants in the past round.
I think it's very much to what Lexy says earlier. Financial independence. It's really key. It's very important. So it's not just about them having the freedom to spend what they earn, but have that equal position within the home front. You know, it's not like, I know from the Asian context, it's like the man, it's the sole breadwinner of the family. I guess that context has changed, and women now are more proactive to take that equal role, to share that responsibility with their spouse. So that's one. The other thing is, again, women actually see that, being successful in life is just not from the career front. How they're able to manage their time between caring for the family as well as, being great at work, also important. So one of the participants actually shared and said that, I may be very successful in the organization, being a leader, but you know what? At home, I love cooking for my family. and she made it a point. Now, I wanted to do that. Like another participant was saying that it's like a long day at work, and she was home quite late, and the next day is her son's birthday, and she insists still wanting to bake the cake for her son. And her husband was just saying that, come on, just buy something. It's like so late. But the husband feel for her and thought that she should actually take a rest and not do that. But she said, no, I want to do it because I want to actually show it to my son that it's a special day and this is what mommy can do for you. So I think, again, to me, it's an aha moment. It's like a lot of ladies talk about having that kind of guilt. But what I'm actually hearing today is not so much of guilt. It's like, I want to do it because I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and I want to do this because it also gave me the sense of achievement of me, not just at the work front, but also at the home front.
What's driving the change?
That's a great question. Women's empowerment, so to speak, in the sense that women want to make a difference, and they want to make a difference beyond the home and beyond the family. And I think it's important that there's a fulfillment that's needed. And I think today's world allows that fulfillment to occur, maybe not as much as we'd like it to occur, or the opportunities aren't available for everybody. They can see, some women are able to see that they can get that side of it. And I think it's really hard when you've been raised thinking that you're going to be a mother and this is what you're going to do. And then when you realize that even for myself, when I had children, I realized I was probably a better mother by working because I got this personal fulfillment. And then when I was home, it was about them. Now, whether they agree with that or not is another story. But
that's the intent, right? That's the intent.
Absolutely, it is. Yes.
Something that stood out when you did your address to the audience about you and your leadership journey. Give yourself grace. Can you give us a perspective of what that is? And Irene, to you, how do you see that from a perspective of where you as a leader and the conversations that you had in the 2 days?
I think that because we try to balance so many roles that you described, we put so much pressure on ourselves, and life comes at us, whether we like it or not, and it happens at once. To take a step back is not failing, and what I mean by take a step back, it's saying, okay, I need to almost like remove myself slightly from it, be able to reframe the issue and figure out how to do it. And there are ways to do that. And we don't have to do it all by ourselves. We tend to take responsibility and feel like, oh no, this is my responsibility because I'm a daughter, I'm a wife or a mother. We can't ask for help. That, if anything, creates more of a team, more of a community that helps to support you. And giving yourself grace to do that, we give it to others. Why don't we give it to ourselves?
It always starts with us. I mean, in an airline, the analogy is when the pressure is there, the mask drops, please put it on yourself before you put it on someone
That's right.
else.
That's right.
I mean, our tendency is that guilt rise to.
That's a great analogy.
But we don't take care of ourselves first because that's not the way the upbringing was, right?
I think the way Lexy put it is just so beautiful and it's so true. Sometimes we forget to love ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want to give so much, we forgot to give it
to ourselves.
To ourselves.
Yeah.
And to be kind to yourself as well.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And when there's a period of so much change happening, I think we need to think of grace in a different way, of allowing others a little bit of space to adjust to that change as well. So I think it's taking on a slightly different meaning as well, and how we give grace to others. So
Let me now bring it up to a second theme that you spoke about, be you an advocate. Because again, this combination is interesting because you are the chair of a professional body, the chair of the governance board of a professional body that has 0.6 million members all over the world. You manage the global markets for AICPA and CIMA, seated where you are. And you can see, I mean, in my own interaction, and that might be limited, is that we are not good at being our own advocates at all, let alone women. I mean, somebody else have to be an advocate for you, and you just wait for that moment to happen.
yes.
What drove you to that statement that you spoke about, be an advocate? And Irene, the question is, what is your key message to everyone else saying, why can't you be your own advocate as well?
I think it's just tenacity and sheer determination. And honestly, when you're in the moment, it really wasn't until upon reflection, Venkkat, that I even realized that. And I think that we can't read each other's minds, right? We have to communicate. And we were joking about that in like personal relationships. Like I just expect my husband to know what I'm thinking, right? Like, he should know what I'm thinking, right? And so, but that mindset sometimes is like, okay, that person doesn't know that maybe I want to take this path unless I tell them. And it was very clear to me earlier on when one of my senior partners, when I decided not to be afraid of becoming a partner, that moment when I went to talk to that partner, he said, well, I'm not going to make you a partner unless you tell me. And it was very clear, okay, I need to tell you. Then I said, okay, I want to become a partner. That kind of resonated with me, I think, that I need to communicate and just tell people this is what I want. And you can do it respectfully and professionally, and it doesn't mean being a bully. It's simply communicating what you're looking for.
I think, again, Lexy just have said it so right. Do we really advocate ourselves so much as if that we want to put ourselves out there? I guess it goes back to the basic of, if you have the passion of doing what you love to do and doing it, so well, you are already advocating yourself through action. That's how I'm actually seeing it. And people value that of you. So to me, that's one way of you advocating yourself. But of course, like what Lexy says, sometimes you can't expect people to read your mind what you want. Only you know exactly what you want. So it's okay for you to tell others that this is what I want, and would I be given that opportunity? Because if you don't ask, you don't know whether you can get it or not. And you won't lose anything at all if you were to ask, because you lose more if you don't ask. So I think advocating here comes with two things. One is continue on with what you believe, it's right for you, that your passion is, prove it with actions. Be there for yourself and speak your mind, what you think you want, so that others will know whether they'll be able to give you the guiding hands to help you to be where you want to be.
Right, and it's fair to ask as well that if this is what I want, what is it I need to do, right? So the expectations are clear as well. I just want to put that second step in there because I think that's important also.
That's true, because otherwise you will be living in a world of assumptions that somebody has control over what your journey is. And it's not to be bold, but it is to be brave, and there's nothing wrong in that. And here's the last part. One of the struggles for me as someone who, working from home, has its challenges. When calls are finished, there's a blurred line when I get over to my wife and have a conversation with her, and when she has issues, I'm not a listener because I'm on solution mode, right, as most men would be. One of the things that both of you all drive conversations around is to be great listeners, and that's important in being who you are as an authentic leader. Why is that important to the both of you?
From the listening perspective, you're not going to be good at what you do unless you do listen. Having chaired the National Pipeline Advisory Group, it was a huge leadership lesson for me about the importance of listening. People want to be heard. And you say about, your wife, my husband says he has spousal deafness syndrome because he doesn't listen to me, And I feel like, I just told you that, And I think that we just continue going, but it's so important to listen. It really is. For people to feel that they belong and that to have that connectivity.
If you do not listen, you won't be able to communicate. And without communication, you won't be able to connect. So listening is key in order for you to know how best you could respond to the other person. And every one of us wants to feel important, wants to feel that we are being cared. So if you do not listen and you're not responding it right, then the other person may not feel it that way. And that's why you can't connect.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Over the past 2 days, Lexy, and it may not be just the past 2 days, but in your journey, what was that one outstanding story that came across to you from a female leader or someone in the profession? You reflect and went, that was interesting. That's something that carried along with you in your journey.
Over the past few days, it has been, don't depend on anybody but yourself.
Gotcha.
And that self-confidence to where no matter what comes at you, you can make it.
Yeah.
And for me to see how widespread that thought was eye-opening.
Very much the same. It's all about the self-confidence, because if you do not have that, you will not have that energy as well as that determination to do what you want to do, to achieve what you want to achieve. And that's why, a lot of ladies will say, okay, I can't do this. Because if you keep on telling yourself that, then obviously you ended up not doing it because you believe that you can't do it. So having that confidence and keep on assuring yourself that you can, you will be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So I guess, that's that one thing. That's the takeaway.
There's actually really funny, you just reminded me of a situation very briefly where I was going to like my 30th high school reunion, or somewhere around in that number. And I was very nervous about it because in high school I was very quiet and shy and reserved, and a friend had convinced me to go. And I got out of my car and I was like, oh, what am I doing here? And then I thought, no, pretend you're going into a conference room with a client. You got this. And I started to strut into that room like I was going into a conference room. And I just felt completely different. Just that mindset. It's a mind game sometimes. Something as simple as that. Don't let the past weigh you down. Focus on the future.
It is.
And who you are today.
Correct. And I've been sharing this story with the participant yesterday and today about how I actually moved from the investment industry to education. Or I never thought I could be a lecturer when someone offered, why not you try lecturing? And I was teaching, my first class was a group of students teaching accounting. I was like, gosh, that's the driest subject of ever. But I do not know how to connect with the students. But again, I tell myself, well, just go in and then be yourself, and whatever skills and experience you have, just make it work.
Exactly right.
And nobody taught me how to lecture, but all I know is that I treat all the students like my client, and I spend one day getting getting to know them. And that's how I started. And guess what? They are my biggest achievement. That gives me a sense of satisfaction, and knowing that education is my calling, because all of them actually came out with great results. They passed.
The impact that you saw that spurred you on individually as well to what you do.
Yeah.
Now, before this session started, we were having an interesting conversation around women returning back to work. Because coming back to that mindset thing, right? So that's that mindset, skill sets challenge, right? I mean, both of you are mothers. You re-entered the profession. You re-entered what you do. There are female leaders or there are professional accountants seated out there, and this is just to the general public, who may be in a position, or they may not be in a position to think through in their mindset that I can do this. It makes sense and I want to come back. There are things that hold them back. What are the specific advice would you give to them through your own experiences, shared experiences, as well as what conversation came out over the past 2 weeks?
I think it's the technology, don't you? Where it's changing so fast. Back in 1990, not to date myself here, but I left public accounting for 9 months and went to work for a client and came back. And I was shocked in that 9 months how much had happened and changed that I had to get up to speed on. And it was frustrating to me because it was only 9 months. I can't imagine 9 months in today's world. So I think that it's grace. It's going to take some time to get up to speed. And I think this is where it's important as far as the feedback that we're getting, or what are the resources that women do need to be able to do that and have the right expectation. Because if they know that going in, it will take away some of the frustration that might stop them otherwise, I would hope at least.
Yeah. And you see, for ladies coming back to work after a gap of time, they need to be very patient in terms of giving themselves that space to feel uncomfortable, because it will take them quite a bit of time to learn what those things that they've actually missed.
Yes.
Like what Lexy was saying, 9 months. But look, if they were to leave the workforce 3 years ago, there's nothing about what ChatGPT is all about, right? Or AI is all about. But even AI within the last 2 years has so evolved. We started off with just AI, then Gen AI, and then now what, the Agentic AI. You can see how fast things are actually moving. So when they come into the workforce, they need to learn a lot, or even before coming in, they will need to start learning, bringing back those knowledge and putting it into practice. They might find themselves in some embarrassing situation, like as if that the probably younger colleagues are much smarter than they are.
Exactly,
That's why I said,
yeah.
correct. So that's why they have to be patient for themselves as well. Don't push themselves too hard, and give themselves grace.
Yes.
It's okay to feel uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that's the reason why you need to stop doing or just tell yourself that, okay, this is not going to work.
And
Just
it's also that
withdraw.
women will focus on what they don't know as opposed to what they still know from when they were in the workforce.
Yes.
Like there's
yes.
so much value that they're bringing that we're not focusing on that. We're just
Right.
focusing on what we don't know.
And in a recent conversation, someone's saying it's also now you're able to bring women back into workforce as long as they seek for companies that the ways of working enables that. Because not a lot of organizations require you to come to work. So the enablement is that they can work from home and they can contribute in their own time. That came out strongly as well. Interesting, because as a profession we are seeing in Asia particularly, I wouldn't know this Lexy, but I would do with you, there are a lot of females coming into finance and accounting in that space. What makes them special in terms of this profession, the way they see it coming in over here that you don't generally see in the past? What's driving more women into accounting and finance?
I think that there have been some role models that make it up through the chain, but we lose so many women from, I would call, middle management to top leadership. I think that some of the women that started that became mothers, and that helps with their children. But that's an interesting question.
I think we do have a lot of women coming into the workforce in the finance profession because, again, they want to make a difference. You see, accounting and finance, although it looks like it's a very focused scope, but actually brings big impact towards the larger business. And all these women in accounting and finance, especially the role models, actually show how they are the leader, they are the navigator of businesses. I guess that actually inspired a lot of a young generation where they see accounting and finance. It's not just a career within the accounting and finance, but it is actually a starting point for me where I can actually grow not just higher in the hierarchy of an organization, but expanding myself wider into other possibilities in my career growth in the future.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's a great foundation of knowledge that can take you into any direction.
Exactly.
And one of the things that happen with most women post giving birth to children is that there are a lot of changes that they experience which most people don't understand. I mean, as a husband, neither did I in the first instance. It was so much for me to observe, absorb, and still figuring it out.
Yes.
And I mean, it puts in a way a lot of perspective of not having that understanding, won't be able to provide a lot of support. And sometimes in certain societies for women, it's a taboo to talk about it. They're just like, just let's move on, you know. What would your message to be? I mean, I heard you talking about it's a mindset to be bold. What else would you ask them to think about in terms of creating a general sense of understanding about the journey?
Communicate.
It's as basic as that.
It really is, because if my husband were to say to me, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Then I could explain it, right? I think it's really that simple. I mean, it could be. Now, whether they understand the answer or not, but I think that that's a big part of it.
You know in Asia what it is.
I agree, but you said it yourself, Venkkat. You said you do not know. You wanted to support, but you just do not know what that is, what we're going through. So as a wife, as a mother, if I'm not communicating, then you wouldn't know. So
That's
we
right.
have to communicate.
That's right.
Exactly.
Both ways. Well, overheard a conversation conveniently that you're planning to scale this initiative up in key markets as well. Would you like to talk about which markets you're particularly?
We're going to do a road show together.
Yes. Well, we haven't actually decided, but obviously in our plan right now, we plan to actually speak to leaders, female leaders in China, and of course, we'd like to speak to female leaders in South Africa. But again, this is our plan as of now. With the momentum that we're taking, I'm not surprised we're going to adding more to our list, Lexy.
Perfect. So it's a global
It'll be an
initiative.
evergreen project, I
Yes,
think.
yes.
Global initiative on an evergreening scale.
Correct.
So we're going to wrap up this, and I'm just going to put you on the spot and just let you know none of this was scripted. No questions were shared with them in advance. We're going to do a quick 5 rapid fire questions to the both of you. Oh yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it has to be spontaneous. Favorite movie or TV program?
Smokey and the Bandit. I loved that movie growing up.
The Sound of Music.
Sound of
Julie
Nice.
Andrews.
Oh wow. Favorite comfort food?
Chicken and dumplings.
Chicken and dumplings.
Chocolate.
Your favorite role model?
My mother.
Your mother.
Yes.
My mother.
It's a consistent theme over there.
Yes.
What would that one thing that you would have been if you did not end up in the profession, but when you were young you wanted to be something else? What would that one thing be?
I don't know if it would say it when I was young, but I would say that if I could pick something where I didn't, at the time where I had to make money, I would have my own bakery because like they were sharing today, I love to cook and I've been the one staying up at night to decorate the cake for the birthday. And the bakery would have been comfort foods.
Well, it's funny that you asked this question. When I was a kid, I loved to be in uniform because my dad is a retired army.
Yes.
So the teacher asked me as to what are my first 3 choices. It's a police officer, a army, or what we call a military, and my last choices is a firefighter.
Wow.
Yeah. But when I grew up, I finished my my high school. I ended up doing law, so I thought I could be a lawyer. But after trying few subjects, I realized that that's not what you want.
Well, we benefit that you being here and you didn't choose it.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
One stereotype that you dislike the most about women?
That we don't deserve a seat at the table. I think that's, or that we're not as good. We can't be as good as men.
That women will always need a man to protect.
I like that one.
Looking at the both of you, you definitely don't.
Yeah.
Especially if you were going to be in the military.
Yes.
Last question. What would your one piece of advice be to everyone? This is just not to women. There are strong men and strong women out there. There are young aspirants coming into the profession and looking at setting up their career. What would that one personal advice that you would like to share that comes from within you, Lexy?
Yeah, I wish that I had started my volunteer journey for our profession much earlier in my career than when I did. I didn't start it until my children were older. And what I have received of just as far as knowledge and our profession, it gives back so much. And it can be, within an industry that you work in, but get outside of the walls of your firm or your organization. And I don't talk about evening networking, but have lunch meetings, get to know people, understand the business community. You will learn so much more than just sitting at your desk and working.
And get out of the comfort zone to do that.
Yes, and there's ways to do that. Yes.
And for me, is this: we can plan everything in life, but do know that there's always unknowns coming. So my advice is that do not be afraid to try, or do not, dare to fail. Even if things doesn't work, it's okay. Just pick things up and move on. I always believe, and this is my own experience, whenever there is a failure in front of you, actually it opens door to another opportunity for you to see things, differently, or for you to explore new opportunities where you never thought of actually exploring. So failure is not the end. Actually, failure is the beginning for you to try new things. Just have that courage
It only
dare
makes
to
you
fail.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lexy, Irene, it's been a fantastic conversation.
Yes.
We'll build this up into the report that we will release out to the public. Thank you so much for not just being leaders, but just for being who you are. Over the past 2 days, Lexy, we enjoyed your company.
I thoroughly enjoyed the visit. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was just seamless. It felt like you were another colleague, not a leader from a volunteer perspective coming here, and you put through the ease. And Irene, just working with you and supporting all the female leaders that you see, just not female leaders, but the others who are coming through the journey. Yes. I can tell you this, we appreciate both of what you do for the profession. So incredibly, thank you from all of us.
Thank you, Venkkat. Thank you.
you.